Sawadee Katakon. This is Red. You are watching the Rouge review, and today, finally, we are going to begin the series Cherm Chey together, which is what I have been waiting for since the day I started this channel. I actually started doing these BL reviews in anticipation for wanting to talk about this show. And now, over the course of not quite a year, I have talked about all of my other favorite shows and have super enjoyed it. And the goal was to become decent enough at it to be worthy of reviewing this show. And I am pretty satisfied with the progress so far. So I hope everyone is ready. I have been waiting for this for so long, it feels like forever that I've been anticipating this show, and I'm super, super excited. If you have not been to my other reviews, just a little background information. I am Red. I do audiobook readings on the side and these lovely BL show reviews. I am half English and half Cherokee, and I will be moving to Thailand later on this year. I have been studying for around a year. I study by myself, so I don't really have anyone to work with, but I'm not terrible at it, but I definitely am still a very elementary level Thai learner. So sometimes I am able to add in little tidbits and sometimes it still goes right over my head. I'm doing my best. So hopefully you will enjoy the little insights I am able to provide into this show. Um, so, as I said, today we're going to start Cherm Chey, and there is no English title for this show, just so everyone knows. And it's going to be 10 episodes long. So, there will be 10 of these shows where we make it through all the way to the end of the show. I'm actually going to be packing up and moving around the time that this show finishes up. So, hopefully, I will be able to record them all in my little studio. And if not, if sometimes I'm in a different place, just know that most of my items are in a box now. So, this is my very favorite acting couple ever. I'm not even going to say BL couple, just two actors in television shows like ever, Tudor and Yim. And the director has also worked with Tudor and Yim before. So, he's directed um, Bed Friend, The Middleman's Love. He also directed Why Destiny and Suntini and Your Third that's filming now. And I want to say he did another Max and Nat show too, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on this. If you are the kind of person who only wants exact facts and you're going to be upset if I get something not quite right, this might not be the show for you because I do make mistakes and I'm sorry I'm not perfect. I do not have a ton of social media presence. I have a Blue Sky and a Tumblr. And so I just get news wherever I can. And I'm happy to share just exciting tidbits that I find along the way. Um, this show is available on two separate apps. So for people in Thailand, you can watch this on the True Visions Now app. That is a cable TV channel specific to Thailand. It actually had never had a mainstream BL show air, so this was kind of a big deal because this is the first BL show that they've picked up and funded for specific airing on their own channel. So for Tudor and Yim to be picked for this was a pretty big deal. And the director even said that when he was hired, he initially just chose Tudor and Yim to work with, and then they together searched for a story that would fit the bill, which the story is also perfect. But I just thought that was a neat little tidbit. If you do not live in Thailand, which I assume most of us do not at this moment, you can also watch this on GagaOoLala, which is you can search it up on the web or get an app for your devices. But there is a long list of countries where even on the Gaga app, it is restricted. So to help with that, you can look in the comments of this video and find a place where you will be able to watch all of the uncensored episodes. Um, alone without my talking like you would be able to watch on the app. I'm doing this because I don't think that the fans should have to pay for the poor licensing choices, and I want everyone to enjoy this show and fall in love with Tutor and Yim and this story. So, if you have the means to support the show through the proper channels, through True Visions or GagaOoLala, please sign up for those. Um, they're only going to keep making more of these amazing shows if it gets the proper support. So, that's the way to go there. But if for some reason you are not able to support this show monetarily on one of these two apps, and unfortunately, you do have to pay for the show on both of them. It is a small amount, but you still have to pay. But if you can't do that, I am making these episodes available for you to enjoy also. But please consider doing your part by talking about it, tweeting about it, sharing anything you can about this show to help kind of drum up some interest for everyone and still show that you care about these stories and these actors. The people who put so much work into this really deserve praise. So I am adamant about we can watch this together and hang out, but please go support the show in any way you can outside of just watching me talk about it on YouTube. Lastly, you can read the novel version both in Thai and in English on the MEB app. So it's an online digital bookstore. I want to say when I bought it, the book was like 8 or 9 American dollars. It was not expensive at all. And there is an English translation as well as the original Thai version. So if that interests you, I highly recommend reading the novel. I read the novel first a long time ago. It is so good. I love the story. And I promise I'm not going to constantly compare the show to the novel. Like, I know that they're not going to be the same, and I've had experience with translating written story to video, and some things just don't work that way, and there are time constraints. So just know that I'm only going to be like, in the book, it was like that if it was interesting or if I felt like everyone would enjoy that little bit of knowledge or if it adds to it. But I'm not going to constantly be comparing to the book. I can appreciate the show for what it is. Just when I was in Thailand not long ago, I had a day where my entire mission was to buy the hard copy of this novel. And I was able to do it after going to 3 bookstores. So here's my the spoils of my mission. And I did that on a day where I was originally going to go to Chonburi, where the temple is from the beginning of this show. In this episode, they visit a temple in Taiwan, but it's actually the Chinese temple that's in Chonburi. And I was so disappointed that I didn't get to go to this temple, right? It was so sad. But it was funny when I was watching the episode. Um, Tudor pulls out a fan from his bag and starts fanning Yim. And it was the very fan that I bought for myself when I was visiting one of the temples, and it was hot. So it was just a funny little thing that I was amused by. I was like, hey, that's that me too. I went to a temple and got hot and had that fan. So even though I didn't get to go to the temple this time, I do plan to go next time. Also, if you want to skip to the show, I am going to talk about and give a little background information on everything before we get started, just because there are some things that I would like to say that I feel like would be a little rushed if I tried to talk over the show. So please feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to hear my notes about it. This show is Thai. It is written for a Thai audience, and the novel was written for a Thai audience. So sometimes I see people's opinions online, and unfortunately, I think a lot of the worst people share their opinions online, and that's why I see them, but not everyone feels this way. But I would like to address it. There are a lot of jokes, a lot of plays on words, things like that, that just do not translate well into English. So please keep that in mind as we're watching this. Sometimes I might be able to explain it, but sometimes they just generally do not translate to something that would be funny in English. And I think that they did the best that they could with the subtitles, but not everything lines up. And this is a very witty, very funny show. The dialogue has a lot of the humor in it. So, as you're reading the subtitles, they are not great. I will say that also. I've watched it on True Visions and on the Gaga app, and the Gaga app has better English subtitles, but both of them kind of aren't great. Definitely some of the Demundi shows have excellent English subtitles. These are not the worst, but they're also not the best. And if I am able, I will try to fill in or kind of explain where they missed the mark and how it could have been better. I'll be too pedantic about it, but I will try to fill that in because there were certain times that I was like, I don't know. But Thai speech and when they speak and make jokes, they love to do like nonsense talk and they also love rhyming words, things like it just things that sound silly. And I think that's why some of it doesn't really translate well into English because they're saying something that it kind of all goes together. And in English, those words don't rhyme or they're not like, it's not an alliteration, so it's not funny. So just know that when they're talking, sometimes it's very funny in Thai, but it's not quite as interesting in English. But you can tell by their expressions that they are teasing and joking with each other. The other thing about the language piece that I wanted to talk about first was the way that they address each other. And it happens at the very beginning of this episode, but I felt like it would be too long to explain. So there's a conversation that they have where they talk about what pronouns that they're going to use and how they're going to refer to each other. So you'll hear Yim's character call Tudor's character Hia, which is like an older brother type respectful term. And it usually is people that have Chinese heritage are referred to as such. I mean, see, Nunu always calls him Hia. So same thing. And then in return, you'll hear Tudor's character refer to Yim as Nong, which is younger brother. So it's kind of older brother, younger brother. It's more polite, especially when people don't know each other. And these guys are strangers who kind of like love at first sight ish. I don't know. It's complicated. You'll see. So that's how they start out. But then you'll notice in one conversation, Yim's character, who has a bit of a rougher way of speaking, uses gu and mung. And so that's the super, super informal, relaxed, like it's almost rude, but if you refer to like your friends like that, it's okay. It's like saying you and I, but that's extremely familiar, and you just would not do that with strangers or people that you don't know very well. And so there's one part where Tudor's character says, okay, well, are you going to be polite or are you going to be informal? Like, you need to pick one. Like, what are you calling me? Because he's trying to say, look, you're switching between something that's nearly rude and a very polite way to refer to me. And the funny last little bit about that is that Tudor and Yim specifically in a show or just in life, or at least in front of the camera, never refer to each other like that. They always refer to each other with their names or with other like pronouns. There's all kinds of different ones, but they never use that gu and mung. And it is almost disrespectful, but it would be fine between someone who are as close as them, but they don't use that. So they're always extremely respectful of each other. Plus, they're both from northern Thailand, and I think that they tend to speak more respectfully. Just in my experience, I see that sometimes they are less likely to use such relaxed language. um, I have notes here to make sure that I talk about everything before the show gets started. The other thing is this is a mature story. This is obviously like a rated R, R18, adults only show, but this is along the lines of like Bedfriend, if you're familiar with that. So in the book, there is an intimate scene in every chapter. I mean, they meet and fall in love and have a one night stand at the very beginning, or what they think will be a one night stand. So I mean, every episode has intimacy in it. And the story, I mean, if you read the novel, the story is about their sex life as much as it is about their relationship, but not in a throwaway way. It's not just for thrills. I mean, that part of them, they're figuring out their love story and how they relate to each other and how they like each other, as well as navigating sex as well. They're just normal adults. Um, this story is very slice of life. So it is just about two grown ass adults going about life, worrying about their job, worrying about their interpersonal relationships, wondering if they like each other. There are moments where the dialogue even is a little awkward. There's some long pauses, or there's parts where they say a whole bunch at one time. And sometimes they speak really fast, and then sometimes they speak really slow, and they just kind of stare at each other. That's pretty normal for human beings. And I'm not saying that every viewer understands what it's like to meet someone and then go home with them immediately. But when you like somebody or you're attracted to them and you're hanging out, but you don't know them that well, I mean, they did a really good job of portraying that, both the awkwardness and the excited bit of it, and how well they get along. So just keep that in mind. It's another thing I've seen. And again, I think mostly probably the worst people share their opinion online, but it's just something that I've noticed. And the ups and downs of the flow are very realistic to me, anyway. So you'll see that everything is very real life situation. They don't play it up. They don't try to be cool. They don't try to make it more exciting than it really is. I appreciate the director, the writers, everything about this show for making it pretty down to earth and realistic for what it is. The last thing I have on my notes, so sorry, I feel like I've talked for like half an hour before this show even starts, but it's all stuff that is interesting to know and I wanted to share before we get started. This will be the only episode where I talk so much at the beginning. Normally, I do not. It's always the first episode of each series. So the last thing that is just kind of interesting with the spellings and the subtitles. So the title of the novel, Cherm Chey, the first word, it does not have an R like the English R in it. And the vowel combination that they use in this word kind of makes a similar sound to when something has an R in it in English, but it's not a vowel that we say as English speakers. So I understand why they included an R to kind of help move your mouth in the same way. In turn, the main character, Yim's character, his name is Akara, but they call him Eung. And I've noticed in the book it's spelled E-U-N-G, Eung. But in the subtitles, they use an R, E-R-N-G. And I think that's just to kind of help lead your mouth in the right direction because it isn't a natural vowel for English speakers. So just some cool little stuff that people might want to know. If not, guess what? It's time to watch the show. So I will do what I always do and pause it during the theme song, but I actually really love the theme song of this show. There's no OST, there's no singing. I think that would be really out of place with the style of this show, but it's just a really cool, muted sequence with some neat music. So if you have the chance, or if you go watch this at another time without my talking, please be sure to check out the theme song. I'll just pause it when it gets to that on this. So without any further ado or talking, let us finally get started. I love that it opens right away with Yim getting to punch someone.
I
have to say, just personally, using him not being cute as an excuse, but then having Yim play him is like, that's impossible. Yim is the cutest person on the entire earth. He is a princess.
เอ้ย
Yeah, get him. Damn, he just went straight to hitting him across the head with the bottle. In the behind the scenes, you can see that Yim actually got hit by that chair once and he had like a bruise on his arm. Poor baby. Oh my god, this girl, his best friend. This is actually one of Yim's real life friends. I love that he just kicks her away too. Like, oh my god, gross. I would rather die. They're so funny together, and Yim is friends, like his friend group is just all divas. There's him, and then all of these diva girls like her.
ช่างมันเถอะกูก็ตีมันไปอยู่กับเมียใหม่
He
แล้ว
just looks like such a sweet baby. He's like, I'm sad. I'm gonna stay on the couch.
แถมมันจะถอนหุ้นออกจากร้านด้วยเครียดกว่านกไม่รู้ทำไงต่ออ่ะช่วงนี้มึงก็ไปพักผ่อนไหมล่ะไม่เอาไม่อยาก
I don't wanna.
อะไรวะ
He doesn't know what to do, but he doesn't want to take a break.
นี่กูจองตั๋วมาให้มึงแล้ว
It's like you need to get your sad ass off the
ทำบุญ
couch.
ขอพรเขาบอกว่าที่เนี่ยนะขังมากของานได้งานขอเงินก็ได้เงินขอผัวก็ได้ผัว
จริงจัง
ก็จริงกันสิมึง
Oh, really?
ที่กูได้ผัวเนี่ยนะกูก็ไปขอกันที่นี่แหละไม่ต้องคิดมากตัวเป็นเซอร์ไพรส์จากกูไง
I don't ever think it. Just
มึง
go.
จะได้หลุดพ้นจากอีผัวเวรนั่นสักทีทีนี้เนี่ยนะมึงจะขอแบบใหม่
Love this girl. She's like, yeah, your last guy was
ก็ขอ
shit.
เลย
ได้ดิลูกขอผัวใหม่สูงยาวเอวดีใหญ่ไข่พอดีเบ้าหน้าหล่อการศึกษาดีชาติตระกูลดีรักครอบครัวเข้ากับเพื่อนกูได้ไม่แตกไวขยันทำมาหากิน
What a list. I love him. He is such a princess. Let me welcome your new husband in advance. And what she says right there is so funny. She doesn't say perfect, she says that. And it's like slay, like, yeah, get it. All right, it's time for me to pause it. But that was just really cute of her to say. Okay, we're back. Because I didn't show the theme song, you didn't get to see how many Demundi cameos are going to be in here, but it's a lot. I'm really impressed that they made this, like, bus station look like it was in Taiwan and not in Thailand. But it is.
ครับแม่
อุ้ยคนไทยเหรอ
นิดหนึ่งแล้วครับ เดี๋ยวไปวัดต่อครับ ครับ
So he notices him at first because he's in Taiwan and he hears some other guy speaking Thai. He's like, oh, another Thai person?
รักคุณแม่มากนะครับ ครับเจอกันครับ
Oh, and he just happens to be like a handsome prince. On the other app, you can see it like gives some subtitles that are more like what he's internally thinking, and he's thinking, "Oh my god, I want a husband like that." When he looks at him, he said he'd give himself for free for somebody that hot. And so now he's following him because he's like, "Oh my god, he's gorgeous and Thai. I've got to follow him here."
หายไปไหนเร็วจังเลยวะ
นี่คุณ เดินตามผมมาทำไม เรารู้จักกันเหรอ
ไม่เราไม่รู้จักกันครับ
ดิ
Yeah, why are you following me
ถ้าเรา
around?
รู้จักกันอ่ะ กูคงจำได้
ขอโทษนะพี่
Juder's character,
เมื่อกี้ผมได้ยินพี่คุย
Intha,
โทร
is
ศัพท์อะ
so
ว่าจะมาไหว้
funny
พระ
in this show.
ก็เลยเดินตามมาด้วย
ไม่เป็นไร
Tudor is a very
งั้นไปด้วย
slow
กันก็ได้
speaker
พี่ก็มาคน
and
เดียวเหมือน
slow
กัน
to respond a lot of times. He thinks a lot before he speaks, and he does not speak very
พี่คลีนอิน
fast.
ใช่ไหม
หยุด ชื่อนั้น
But in
แม่
this
พี่เรียก
show,
ได้คนเดียว
he snaps back so
Aw.
quickly and he speaks
ชื่อ
faster
ที่บ้านเรียกกันใช่ปะ
than he ever
ผม
speaks
ก็
in
มี
real
นะ
life. And to hear him
พ่อ
do
ชอบ
it
เรี
and
ยก
him
ผมว่า
pull
ไอ้
it
เข้
off
ม
so well is
แต่
so
ผมชื่อเอิ้ง
funny.
นะ
He's
น่าจะ
genuinely
เด็กกว่าพี่
hilarious in this show.
ปีนี้ 24
พี่ชื่ออินทะเรียกอินเฉยๆก็ได้ หรือถ้าไม่สะดวก เรียกที่รักครับก็ได้นะ
I also love that he's just, you cannot embarrass him. That's part of his personality. He just says weird
Right.
shit all the time and does not get
อันนี้ก็
embarrassed.
เคยแล้วเหรอ
เอ้ยเฮียน้องกูถามหน่อย ย่ามเนี่ย ของแท้หรือแฟชั่น
จะน้องหรือจะกูไม่เอาสักอย่างดิ
That's what I'm talking
No,
about. He's
but
like,
I-
how are you going to address me?
แต่ถ้าเผลอพูดกูบ้างอะเฮียไม่ถือสาใช่ปะ
But don't be upset if I'm informal.
กูไม่ถือ จะเรียกอะไรก็เรียก
ช่างเรื่องนั้นก่อนเถอะ แต่ย่ามเนี้ย ของแท้ปะ
อย่าจับใบนี้ของแท้
And quit it.
หลวงพ่อให้กูมาเลยนะเว้ย โอ้โหใบ
Like,
นี้กูได้
no
มาจากวั
one
ด
would
ป่าที่กาญ
carry
จนบุรี
around
นะ
a
เว้ย
monk's
เพื่อน
bag
กูนะ
as
อยาก
their
ได้เต็ม
personal
ๆ
bag. Like,
แต่
you
กู
just would
ไม่
not
ขา
do
ย
that.
จะเอากระเป๋าใบอื่นมาแลกกูก็ไม่ให้
But he's super
สุดๆ
weird
อะ
and he just
แล้วมึง
does
ไปวัด
whatever
บ่อย
he
ปะ
wants.
ไม่บ่อยนะ แต่วัดปะล่ะบ่อยมากอืม
I love Eung as like has a very dirty sense of humor.
แค่นี้ก็จะเป็นลม
Yeah, look at this king.
โอ้โห
Don't worry,
พัด
he's
มาด้วยเหร
ready.
อ
ของหลวงพ่อ มันติดมากับย่าม ของมงคลกูไม่เอาออก
ดีไม่เอาตาลปัดมาพัดให้กูอ่ะ
ใครจะพกของแบบนั้นวะแปลกตายห่า
เออแปลกตาย
Yeah,
ห่า
weird as hell. Because everything
คน
else
ส่วน
he
ใหญ่
does
ก็
is
มาไหว้
not
พระขอพร
weird.
ทั้งนั้น มึงก็มาขอพรเหมือนกันใช่ไหม เรื่องงานหรือว่าเรื่องความรัก
แฟนใหม่จ้ะ
Is
Uh,
also the way he
Ngan mày à?
speaks is like very girly, and
Ủa, đi
he's
học
like
fan
a
mấy?
new husband, yeah.
อืม
But one part that
Nhân
you
tao mà.
don't get from the
Để cô
book
bỏ hết.
about that
Nhân
conversation
fan đi
is
sờ bài
that he does not. I mean, Intha just met him, so Eung is kind of embarrassed by saying that because he's like,
Thì
oh,
thả
he
đúng
doesn't even
còn.
know I'm gay, and he's like, should
Thế
I
thì
have
khỏi phải
said
khỏi khỏi
that?
hẳn.
Oh my god.
แล้วเฮียมาไหว้ขอเรื่องอะไรอ่ะ
งานอะกูลาออก
But
ไม่เดือน
then
ก่อ
they
น
he still wants
Mami
him
ก็เลยตกงาน
to
ไง
go together,
Mẹ
so
ก็เลยให้
it
มาไหว้
obviously didn't scare him too bad.
คือ ไม่อยากทำงานเดิมเหรอ
กูเบื่อ อยู่ก็ไม่ติดที่ ไม่มีเวลา ร้านเหล้าอ่ะเงินดีปะ
นี่เฮียจะแย่งอาชีพผมไปะเนี่ย
ถ้าเงินดีมันก็น่าลองอยู่นะ
แต่กินเหล้ามันผิดศีลนะเฮีย
คนเราอ่ะ มีชีวิตเดียว วัดก็ต้องเข้า
He gives
Tao
him a
vẫn
lot of
tìm.
crap for being
Liếc qua
so
ประสบการณ์ชีวิต
devout.
งั้นเอางี้ หลังกลับไปผมขอเลี้ยงเหล้าเฮียสักครั้งหนึ่ง
มึงพูดแล้วนะ
That's right. You said it, so you have to do it now. I love these shots right here. And that temple is huge and so colorful.
เฮียใช้น้ำหอมกลิ่น
ใช่
Oh, he even
กูรู้ตั้ง
smells
นานแล้วเราใช้กลิ่
familiar.
นเดียวกัน
How sexy.
ขอให้ชีวิตหลังจากนี้
Like, what
มี
a
แต่สิ่ง
killer
ดีๆเข้า
shot.
มาด้วยเธอ
And the
จงมี
color
แฟน
treatment
จ
of
งมี
this
แฟน
show,
จ
it
งมี
kind
แฟ
of
น
mutes everything.
สา
Not dark,
ธุ
but just muted. It really fits the tone of the show. What a look. Like, you want a new husband, he's right beside you. Such a good shot. I am a nerd when it comes to
ถ้า
filming.
จะขอพรท่านน่ะ ต้องบอกชื่อตัวเองกับที่อยู่ให้ชัดเจนนะ จากนั้นแล้วค่อยเสี่ยงเปาะป่วย
That's also true. Like, he wasn't just
Boy.
trying to pick up his full
Mà
name
khi
and
một con xì
address.
đè
Like,
nè.
you are supposed to
ถาม
say
คำถามแล้วลงท้ายไว้แค่
exactly
มัน
your full name
ค่อยโย
and
น
exactly
ให้ได้
where
ความ
you
หมาย
live.
3 ค
But
รั้ง
he also
ถ้า
said
หา
that,
หม
of
ดอ่ะ
course,
คือ
to
ไม่แน่ใจ
find out.
ความหมดคือไม่ใช่ หงายหนึ่งคว่ำหนึ่งคือใช่
อืมโหนี่ถ้าผมไม่ได้มากับเฮียนี่ผมแย่เลยนะเนี่ย
Yeah, you're
หั
so
วหารมาจาก
smart.
เน็ตอะ
โหจะพูดให้ผมเสียศรัทธาทำไมเนี่ย
โกหกมันผิดศีลไง
ค่ะพอ
Also, you can tell that Eung talks very girly
คน
and
ที่จาก
sweet
ไป
toward him. He says
จะ
ka
กลับมา
to
ใช่
him
ไห
a
ม
lot, which is the female polite particle. But you can use it between
ไม่สิ
males
นะ
when you're close or when it's like your lover, or if you're really cutesy like him.
สุดท้าย เนื้อคู่มาแล้วใช่หรือไม่ ใช่เฮียเนื้อคู่น้องมาแล้วอะ
Yeah, I think Hia is aware.
ยินดีด้วย
แต่น้องไม่รู้ว่าคือใครอะดิ
I love his face too. He's like,
ใช่คนที่กำลัง
congratulations,
คุยอยู่หรือเปล่า
since he hasn't figured out it's him yet.
ไม่สินะ น้องเพิ่ง
That
เลิก
was
กับแฟน
kind of
ไม่กี่วันนี้เอง
translated
อะ
weird. What he asks him
คุยหรอก
is it someone you're talking to right now? And what Inta's
เรื่อง
trying
แบบ
to
นี้
say is
เชื่อครึ่ง
are
ไม่เชื่อครึ่งก็
talking
นะ
to right now, as
ง
in
มงาย
like,
มากไปก็ไม่
could it
ดี
be me? And what Eung
ไม่งม
thinks
งายหรอก
he's asking is like,
จะรอดูว่า
is
ศั
it
กดิ์สิทธิ์
somebody
จริง
that
ไหม
you're messaging with or like in the talking
ถ้า
stage
แน่
with
จริง
right
ก็
now?
เนื้อ
And
คู่
he's
มา
like,
ยืนตรง
no,
หน้า
I
สิ
just broke up with my boyfriend. The joke went over his head. Oh, he's thinking about it real hard. They both came there to find something new and kind of start their life over. And so it just adds
Okay,
to
anyway.
how funny it is that they ran into
เพราะ
each
ไม่เชื่อ
other
อย่าลบหลู่
and why Inta's thinking about it so hard because he is very devout and he's like, "Oh my god, I wanted all of this stuff and then here's this guy here looking for all of this other stuff." They definitely right off the bat have the hots for each other, and then it just happens to be that they get along really well.
เออ เดี๋ยว เอิ้งมีแผนไปที่ไหนต่อ
See what
บ
I
อก
mean
แล้วว่า
about
ไม่มี
like
แผน
the kind of awkwardness and the
แล้ว
hesitation? I mean, that was a really
เฮียจะไป
drawn
ไหน
out
อะ
pause and a weird way to say wait when he wasn't even going anywhere. But that's how people
กิน
are
ข้าว
in
มั้ง
weird situations like that. He's nervous.
เอิ้งกินชาบูปะล่ะ
ของชอบน้องเลย
ไปกินชาบูกัน กูชวน
ไม่ปฏิเสธเพราะตอนนี้น้องหิวมากๆแล้วอะ
Yeah, he's never gonna turn down somebody buying him dinner.
ไปขอร้านเด็ดๆนะ
The other flip side of that is Intha never said that he likes guys or that he's gay or bi or anything. So
จะถ่าย
as
รู
of
ปกันไหม
right now, they're kind of
อย่าบ
just
อกนะว่าเฮีย
having
จะไปให้
dinner
ถ่าย
together
รูปอะ
because they got along really
Ơi.
well and
เดี๋ยวจะเอา
ran
รูป
into
ที่
each
กู
other
ถ่าย
by
ไปแล้ว
chance. There's a lot at
Cái nào cũng
stake
hiệp
and a
ai.
lot of things they
Cũng ai
still
đưa ra.
don't know about each other, but they're just kind of playing it by ear. Oh yeah, phone eats first. And then he sent him his own selfie. Bold move. How could anyone say he's not cute?
Thật
He's
là
the
khá.
cutest person alive.
เฮียใส่ผักในหม่าล่าด้วยดิ
ไม่ กูคนรักโลก กูไม่แดกผัก แยกหม้อกันไปเลย
His big smile when he says everything's like, I don't do that. We're not.
น้องจะกินผักในหม่าล่าเท่านั้น
Yeah, you
ใส่
should
ผัก
beg,
ในหม่า
little
ล่าได้ดิ
baby.
no
No.
แล้วทำไมไม่
Tutor's
สั่งหม่าล่ามาทั้งคู่ตั้งแต่แรก
reactions are so funny. He
Nah,
is
mình
never
chỉ-
like that.
กูก็เลยสั่งมา2 อย่าง
อย่าตัดสินที่หน้าตา
He's so
เพราะหน้าเฮี
sassy
ยก็เหมือน
and
คนกิน
funny.
ผักออร์แกนิก
ไม่กิน แปลว่าไม่กิน นี่ มึงเคยได้ยินทฤษฎีที่ว่า ถ้าจ้องตากัน8 วินาที แล้วจะตกหลุมรักไหม
Yeah.
เออ
คิดว่าจริ
Maybe
ง
you
ไหม
should try it. Instead of maybe we should try it, he's like, but do you think it's real? Maybe.
วันนี้ก็เกิน8 ปี
These
แล้วนะ
losers. I love them. They could give it a try.
คิดก่อน ใครหลบตาก่อนแพ้นะ
ได้ 1
2 3 4
5
6
7
Honestly, with their chemistry, I could just sit and watch them stare at each other, and it's still good television. Like, Your Honor, they are obsessed with each other. He's too beautiful. He had to look
แล้วสรุป
away.
ว่ายังไง
จริงมั้ง กูยอมแพ้ กูแสบตา มึงทำได้ไงอ่ะ ไม่กระพริบตาเลย
It was only 8 seconds. They're acting like they did it for a minute. One of my favorite things about their dynamic, and a thing that Eung has a hard time digesting, I guess, is that Intha always takes care of him. Like babies him almost. Like, hey.
อะไร
And he's
Whatever.
always so stunned that someone would treat him so
whatever.
kindly and with such
You know,
care. Really, he just never
จะ
had a
ใส่
good
ผักก็ใส่
relationship.
ไปแต่ห้ามเกิน 10 ชิ้นนะ
Look at him
Maybe
give
like-
in.
เดี๋ยวน้องกินในหม้อนี้เอง
กูจ้องตาแพ้มึง กูว่าควรยอมให้มึงเปล่าวะ
น้องเข้าใจว่าน้องไม่ใช่ศูนย์กลางของจักรวาล กิน
You
ข้า
should
ว
be
กับ
the
คน
center
อื่
of
น
the universe, though.
ไม่ควรเอาแต่
You're
ใจ
gorgeous.
เรื่องจ้องตาแพ้พาไปเที่ยวชดเชยแล้วกัน
แบบนั้นก็ได้
Ooh, bold.
มึงดูนี่ กูจะสอนมึง วิธีการกินชาบูที่ถูกต้อง น้ำต้องไม่เดือดเกินไป อุณหภูมิต้องพอเหมาะ
He's like, okay, I'm gonna
Okay,
listen to this
Paul,
weirdo give me this
Sam,
spiel
I'm
about how to
gonna
do
find
it
him about this.
perfect. Because he's hot. Also, in the behind the scenes of this
ลอง
scene,
ดู
when the food actually goes into Yim's mouth, his reaction is real because on that particular piece, evidently Tudor forgot to blow on it, so it was really hot and it burned his mouth.
อร่อยจัด
So him
Sure.
being like, okay.
นั่นเฮียทำอะไรอ่ะ
ศิลปะก็ให้มันเป็นศิลปะไป ตอนนี้กูหิวมาก แดกแบบมนุษย์ปกติ
It's
เถ
like,
อะ
yeah, I know how to do it pretty, but I'm fucking
Yeah.
starving. I love his
เฮีย
attitude.
รู้ตัวปะว่าเฮียแปลก
รู้
I know.
แต่มีเสน่ห์
แล้วมึงรู้ปะว่ามึงก็แปลก
ยังไงอ่ะ
ไม่บอก มึงจะเอาน้ำอะไร เดี๋ยวกูไปเอาให้
เดี๋ยวเราไปเอาเอง
See, here again, he's gonna be taken care of.
กูบอกแล้วว่ากูชอบดูแล
แบบน้องเนี่ยนะ
Yes, like you.
เพราะมึงเฉมเนี่ย
A sweet little princess.
ถ้าน้องเชิมเฮียก็เชยเพราะว่า
เชยตรงไหนวะ อย่างกู
All right,
มัน
there's
ก็
the
มี
title
สายเว้ย
reveal.
เร็ว จะแดกน้ำอะไร
งั้นเราเบียร์มาลองก็ได้
ก็แค่เนี้ย
And it's funny too, because one of his Inta's lines is like, "Don't mind if I go overboard taking care of you. I just like taking care of people." Oh, that fucker.
เฮียน้องขอเล่าอะไรได้ปะ
อืมลองมาดิ
3 ปีก่อนอะน้องเปิดบาร์เล็กๆกับแฟน เริ่มจากร้านเล็กๆ ผมตั้งใจทุ่มเททำงานหนัก จนร้านเริ่มดัง
Like
Now
that
when I
was his
talk to
entire
Thailand.
life he put into that, and then tied his relationship into it as
แต่ดัน
well,
จับได้ว่าแฟน
which
เอา
is
คนอื่น
kind
มา
of
นอนบนเตียง
dangerous,
ผม
you know, when you tie your career into that.
มึงก็เอาคนอื่นมานอนบนเตียงแฟนมึงวะนี่
โอ้ย
He's trying so hard,
No,
but
no,
dude
no
just
way.
does not get the hint.
ผมกับมันอะรอบเนี้ยเด็กขาด ตอนถอนหุ้นออกจากร้าน แล้ววันเนี้ยออนเลยปลดป้ายร้านลง แล้วโพสต์ประกาศว่าเดอะคาวบาร์จะย้ายไปเปิด
It
ที่
should
ใหม่
be Crowd Bar. I don't know why that got into
Ramen,
the subtitles,
Myanmar.
but
โคตรจะเฮี้ยเลย
มึงอย่ามาร้องไห้ตรงนี้นะเว้ยเหมือนคนอื่นมาเห็นคิดว่ากูทำมึงท้องอีก
ซีเรียสก่อน
see what I mean about his sense of humor? He just says weird shit all the time, but it's so funny. He says it
คือ
just
ร้านกำลัง
dead
จะต่อ
ass.
เติม ต้องใช้เงิน ผมโง่เองอะเอาเงินสดให้มันไปหมด ไม่รู้จะทำไงต่อเลยอะกู้ก็ไม่รู้จะกู้ผ่านไหม
เรื่องเงินเนี่ยพูดยาก
Talk about destiny. It just so happens that this was the situation also.
เฮียคนเพิ่งรู้จักกันเขาคง
This
ไป
is
เล่น
what
ฐา
they
นะการ
prayed
เงินกันเหร
for,
อวะ
each of them.
กูไม่ได้จะข่มกูแค่จะถามว่าเทคโอเวอร์ร้านมึงได้ไหมกูอยากทำธุรกิจ
กูไม่ขาย
Mike
กูคิดไว้อยู่แล้ว
แต่ถ้าเฮียเห็นร้าน
He talks so
และ
funny,
โอเค
so
กับการเป็นพาร์ท
dramatic.
เนอร์น้องจะร่างสัญญาแล้วส่งให้เฮียเสร็จ
เดียวหล่อนทุกฉันทุกส่งมาได้เลย
ยังไม่ต้องรีบตัดสินใจ
กูเห็นทำเลกับ
I think he's already decided.
กูว่าร้านมึงน่าจะไปได้เรื่อยๆ มันน่าลงทุน กับมึงก็น่าลงทุน
Maybe he'll finally start to get it.
โอเค
ได้
I love when Yim speaks in that soft voice. He doesn't do it very often, but every once in a while you hear it come through when he speaks to Tutor in shows or in real life, but it's so cute when he does it.
เฮีย
Also, he has never smoked a cigarette
เฮี
in
ยพัก
his
อยู่โรง
life.
แรมไหนอะ
Don't judge him.
มันน่าโฮเทล
จริงปะเราพักอยู่ที่เดียวกันเลย
I have something to add about that, just about Yim in general, and
น้
a
องอ
few
ยู่ห้อง
things
ของ
during
ภาค
this.
สอง
I'll say it at the end.
แล้วเฮีย
กูอยู่ชั้น 7
7 ยับ
Told you he's so dirty.
ไม่ลากกูลงใต้สะดือสักเรื่องได้ไหม
He's like, yeah, but I gotta.
ปะเดี๋ยวเล่นกัน
He's like, oh shit. I think I'm falling for this weirdo.
ทำไมหน้าตาเฮียดูหงุดหงิดจังอะมีเรื่องอะไรเหรอ
กูว่าแค่รำคาญเพื่อนอะฝากหิ้วชายอีกแล้ว แล้วมันอยู่แคนาดา
So some friend of his that lives out of the country sent him a text and was like, I want one bottle of every flavor of tea at the store.
เพื่อนเฮียอยู่เมืองนอกเฮียก็ไปต่างประเทศบ่อยเฮียทำอาชีพอะไรอะทำไมดูมีเงิน
กูทำงานบนฟ้า
เป็นนกเหรอ
You're a bird?
จ้ะนี่เฮียเคยเป็นสจวตปะเนี่ย น้องเขาอยากเป็น
The way he replies to him is super cute too. They already speak really cutely to each other.
ขนาดนี้ เรากำลังลานสู่นรกแล้วค่ะ
อาจจะยังเนาะโอ้โห
I love Hell's
กูว่า
flight
ขายเหล้า
attendant.
ต่อไปดีแล้ว
He's
เชื่
so
อกู
cute.
แล้วเบ้าหน้าอย่างกูอ่ะ ดูไม่เหมือนคนเคยเป็นนักบินหรอ
เหนียน เหนียน
It's
ว่า
like-
คาถายกที่สุด โอ๊ย เจ็บ
Oh, he doesn't know that he pinched him right where he has that big bruise.
สัตว์โลกย่อมเป็นไปตามกรรม
And just for if you haven't followed Yim and Tutor forever, Yim used to get so mad and hate it when Tutor would pinch his face or cheeks like that. And it's funny that this was a scene in this show because that's just old them, and he would sulk and get so
ขอ
angry.
โทษ
And Tudor would always have to apologize and beg and beg.
เนาะ
One time in an interview, they were like, "How have you stayed with Yim for so long?" And he's like, "I always let him win. I let him have whatever he wants, really."
หาย
And that was
ก็
the
ได้
most Tudor thing to ever say.
พี่งอนนะมึง
But you are really sulky.
เฮียมีรูปตอนเป็นสจ๊วตป่ะ
มี
ขอดูหน่อยได้ไหม
He never believes he was a pilot until he sees the
หล่อ
picture of
มาก
him. Wow.
ตอนทำงานอ่ะ กูดูดีที่สุดในชีวิตแล้ว
I imagine he looked super handsome because his hair was fixed and he was wearing a
มันมีรูปเฮีย
uniform,
เหรอ
whereas like now his hair is down and he has on these
ใช่
weird clothes.
ตอนแรกกูก็ใช้รูปคู่แฝดเป็นรูปพื้นหลัง แต่พอเลิกกันปุ๊บอะกูก็ไม่รู้จะใช้รูปอะไร
Also, it translates here his boyfriend, so he was engaged to a
หล่อ
girl
จัง
before this.
ตาไว้นะมึงอะ
And that
Oh,
is
how does
also
it work
important
here?
to the story
It's
because
like
during
now,
all
yeah.
of these
We've had
conversations,
that.
Eung doesn't know that he also
now.
likes men because he's talking about his ex-fiance who was a woman.
เสียดายจัง อยากได้อ่ะ
Yeah, don't hit on his friends.
เพื่อนกูก็มีแฟนกันหมดแล้ว แต่เหลืออยู่คนหนึงนะ
So smooth.
Oh,
He's like,
one
but
so
I know a
solo.
guy. One single
ไป
guy.
แก้ขัดก่อนดีไหม
ใครอ่ะ
คนนี้
คนนี้
It's him. So now he's starting to see like, oh, well, he might be interested. But he says, I'm afraid that he wouldn't, be into that. They're testing the water right there. Even for how fast they end up liking each other, I still think it's so well done and realistic and so cute. How they kind of tease and flirt back and forth until it finally is like, okay.
เนี่ยหาอะไรกินกัน ก่อนเข้าห้องนอนอ่ะ
กูว่าก็ดีนะ จะได้ไม่ต้องออกมาอีกอะ
งั้นเข้ามินิมาร์ทกัน
So
Yeah.
Eung loves to go to the 7-Eleven and just walk around
เวลาน้อง
and
เครีย
look
ด
at
อะ
everything.
น้องชอบเดินเล่นในมินิมาร์ท
And the
Which house? Hold on,
7-Elevens in
hold on.
Thailand
Then
are
there's some more.
huge. There's so much to look at. I did the same thing when I was there. I just kind of walked around and looked at everything there was.
เดี๋ยว กูฟอลไอจีมึงได้ปะ
Oh yeah, can I have your Instagram?
ชื่อ
My
ร้าน
favorite
อะไร
thing about
กูเปิด
Intha
ไฟล์
is
เอาไว้อะ
he's
Nah,
doing
it's your
things
line.
that are awkward and kind of
Ay,
weird,
it's your
but
line,
he himself
Yeah,
is
what's he
never
do?
embarrassed about it. He doesn't feel
น้อง
awkward
รัก
and
ร้านข
weird.
นาดไหนอะ
And most of the time,
แล้ว
it's Eung who feels like, oh god, he's being so cringy. But he never worries about it at all. And Tudor even said
No,
in an
like-
interview that the director would never let him be cool or handsome in the show because that's not the
Okay, you know.
character. But that's Tudor. And so the fact that he pulled it off in such subtle humor and the way that he even speaks so differently than Tudor is really a testament to how good of an actor he is. Because it's not overdone, right? He just very subtly is acting like a completely different person. I love these two. I think they're amazing.
เดี๋ยวกูมานะ กูดูขอ
And
ง
then
มัน
Yim is pretty much acting the most like himself that he's ever gotten to act. In the book, in the English translation, he describes himself kind of, or other people would call him a sissy. And in English, I feel like it's a pretty accurate way to describe it. If you had to go with something, he does speak and act in a very effeminate way. And I think he's used to people making fun of him for that, even though he looks like a buff, tattooed guy. Oh, he's got to make the stealth purchase. He had a revelation there in the 7-Eleven. He's like, I have to get laid. But I also can't tell him that I'm gonna get laid.
เฮียไปซื้ออะไรมา
Bro, if you didn't
ไม่บอก
walk
น้อง
like
อะ
that, he wouldn't suspect
แน่
you.
แอบซื้ออะไรไม่บอกน้องเหรอ
หมากฝรั่ง
แน่ใจนะเฮีย
มึงหยิบอะไรมาเยอะแยะเนี่ยร้านเขาไม่ให้ถุงมึงจะแบกกลับยังไง
Yeah, you also have to pay for a bag at the 7-Eleven.
ก็ย่ามพระเฮีย
So if you don't
นี่
bring a bag, then you have to pay for it, or you have to
มันคือ
carry everything.
ถ้าใจเราเป็นกลางอะย่ามพระก็แค่ถึงลดโลกร้อนเท่านั้นแหละ
I think that line is so funny too, because that's a lot about Buddhism. Like, if your heart is
Right.
clear and free of
Right.
attachments, then the monk's bag could just be a reusable bag. Don't assign any attachments to it. Which is mildly sacrilegious, but also very funny, and turning his love of Buddhism into, like, a way to use his stuff. And it was funny too because he also thinks like, oh God, am I sinning because I put condoms into the monk's bag? Oh, I mean, you did tell him your room number, so. Look at this old fogey in his like matching pajama
Come on,
set, and then Eung's just like a normal guy in his t-shirt and boxers.
ใช่
Yeah, he said you smell real good, girl.
ตัวหอมแล้วอะไม่เน่าแล้ว
And this is the part where I tell you that their
But that's
chemistry is just
ลู
unreal.
กพีช
They don't
Same
even
as that
really
one.
have to do anything except look at each other, and it's already like,
กินไม่หมดเลยเต็ม
oh
เล
my
ยทั้งหม
God,
ดด้วย
that's so sexy.
เผื่อว่ามึงอยากลองชิม
They are
Call it out.
incredibly sexy together and still manage to be funny
จะไม่กิน
and
ก็
look
ได้
like
นะ
they're having fun at the
You can
same
eat.
time. Oh yeah, you just tell him. Because that's
No,
not a
yeah,
metaphor or anything.
ขอกินหน่อยนะ นี่เฮียไม่กินผัก แต่กินผลไม้ได้ใช่ปะ
If you look at Tudor during these scenes, he does this thing where when
Ui, chao
he
này.
is looking seriously at Yim, he like moves his mouth a very
โดยเฉพาะ
particular
ผล
way.
ไม้ที่มันหวาน
And if you keep watching him, you'll notice it. Like, he's into it.
ๆอันนี้เป็นพีชแบบนิ่ม น้ำมันจะเยอะ
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
ว้าว
Wow.
ตอนกลางวันไม่เห็นมี หน้าไปโดนอะไรมา
That translation was also kind of weird. What he said
Uh.
was, that wasn't there this afternoon. What happened? Not, I wasn't there.
อะไร
โดนผัวเก่าต่อยอะทะเลาะกันตอนจับได้ว่า
I also love how you can see
Mami
his
ako
like
naman.
protective streak activating when he hears that he
Diba?
got punched.
ช่างเถอะ
It's such a tiny body movement, but he makes it obvious that he's upset.
ชาที่เฮียบอกว่าอร่อยอะใช่ปะ
อืม กินดิ
It's also so sexy to play the game like,
Okay,
let me
hello,
lean
hello.
over, let me talk really close to his face. Will you please open this for me? I'm just a baby. So when they aired the very first episode the first time, it was a censored version. They had to be like bullied into releasing the uncensored version. So this part wasn't in the first episode originally. But him putting that whole bottle in his mouth, like, it made the episode. Like, how could you cut that out? See his mouth? You know he's really intently looking when he does that with his mouth.
ไม่เอากระเป๋ามาทั้ง2 ใบ
กูมา3 วันเลขมงคลตามพระไตรปิฎก
มีอะไรบ้าง
And if anybody's wondering, that's the monk's name from Journey
พ
to
ระ
the
ไตรปิฎก
West.
ที่มึง
I
พูดถึง
just,
เนี่ย
that's all I know about it.
กูพนันเลยว่ามึงไม่
And then
รู้
he's like, I bet you don't even know why that's important. Like, don't worry about it.
ให้กูรักษาศีล 5ให้ได้ก่อนเถอะ แล้วค่อยว่ากันเรื่องพระไตรปิฎก
He's like, girl, you can't even keep one of them.
นี่รักษาไม่ได้สักข้อเลยเหรอ
มั้งพีทนี่น้ำเยอะมากอะเดี๋ยวไปล้างมือกันนะ
This part also did not make the original cut, which is total injustice. Because if there's anything that Tudor and Yim do perfectly, it's act like freaks. Like, how could you hire them and then not include that? That's literally what they're
มี
known
ถุง
for.
ปะ
อยู่ในย่าม
Okay, well, he said condom,
ยินดีด้วย
but
นะ
it's
คะ
it's like the same word as the word for
ประตู
bag,
นรกเปิดต้อนรับเฮียแล้วอะ
which made it really
Nalok
awkward
ko
in the
rin yun eh.
translation.
ลงขุมลึกหน่อยก็เจอกูนะ
Yeah, welcome to hell, bitch. So sexy of him, especially being kind of like the weird, awkward guy, but he's also just a sex king. And you can see that Yim can't stop smiling. He's like, yes, I'm very into this.
มึงแน่ใจใช่ไหมA whole new world เลยนะ
ไม่ใช่ค
I
รั้งแรก
love that
นะ
they kept that line too, because when they're about to have sex, he does say, well, you know, I'm a whole new world. And he's like, this is not the first time I've slept with a man. And so it was like really hot of him to reveal that. And when he says please, like,
โอ้โห
sorry, they were the perfect
Yeah.
choice for this couple. Like,
ว้าว
it might as well have been about
Yeah.
them. They are just
รบก
these
วนเฮียถ่ายรูป
characters.
ให้น้องหน่อยได้ไหมครับ
It's not precisely them in real life, but goddamn, it's the
They're not
closest
only
they've
that.
ever come to being themselves in a show.
เอาตรงนี้เลยนะ เอาตรงนี้นะ
เออ
Oh my god, why
Yeah.
are you taking his photo like that?
มุมนี้มันจะได้จริงๆ
I
ใช่
like
ไหม
how he's talking
Only
through
one
his
in
teeth too,
fashion.
like,
เฮีย
หืม
หน้าน้องจะไม่เป็นเอเลี่ยนใช่ไหมเฮีย
น่ารักจะตาย
น้องว่า
yeah, you're so
ตรง
cute.
ๆก็ได้ดีกว่า ฝากปรับ 0.5 ให้น้องหน่อยนะครับ เฮียอย่าให้ขาน้องสั้นนะ
อืม3 เมตรแล้วเนี่ย ชี้วัดหน่อย สุดหล่อครับ เลิฟยูหน่อยครับ
He's like
Hello.
this fucking weirdo.
Perfect. ลองดู
ถ่ายตั้งหลายรูป ไม่ได้สักรูปเลยเฮีย
Like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand how you can suck
Maybe
so
not.
bad.
ขอบคุณนะเฮีย
How gracious of him to be like, but thank you.
งั้นเอางี้ ใช้กล้องกู
Oh, he's not
Like
totally
what?
an idiot. He did that on purpose.
แล้วจะส่งรูปกันยังไง
นั่นไลน์ไง
That's
Man,
how
yeah.
he got his contact info to begin with. And just so you know, that's also
Good
how
mom,
he was
okay,
able to
yeah,
look
that-
up the bar and the reviews that he
That-
said
that-
at the
yeah.
table, like, oh, I've seen the page and the reviews of your bar. Was because all his socials are tied to the bar name, so he was immediately able to find it as soon as he had his line. Oh, he happens to be good at it.
พี่ที่ถ่ายรูปดีก็เป็น
You
นี่
got
นะ
played, sweetheart.
เมื่อกี้นี่แกล้งน้องใช่ปะ
ใครไม่กล้าแกล้งมึงเพอเจอร์เอาไลน์มา เดี๋ยวกูส่งรูปให้
ขอไลน์น้องที่คิดอะไรกับน้องปะเนี่ย
So he was
The-
teasing,
wow,
and this
wow.
was the
Yeah.
whole thing, like before he knew that he was gay
ไลน์
or
นั้นเป็นไล
bi.
น์ส่วนตัวใช้อันเดียวกัน
ที่บอกว่าทำงานกลางคืนนี่
He didn't know that he
Wow.
was the king of boy kissers at
ไม่
that
ใช่
moment.
รูปดิสพี่นี่ถ่ายที่ไหนอะ
เบลเจียม
แหลวเยี่ยนจริงปะ
มันหอม
ว้าว
Look at him make a dirty
รู้ทันซะ
joke.
ด้วยป่ะเข้าไปข้างในกันดีกว่าไป
I love all the little
เรา
scenes
อยู่
at
ใน
the
สถานะ
end.
ไหนกันแน่วะเนี่ย
เราคุยกันไปก่อนก็ได้
Oh, they're so good. All right, I better pause it before anything
ส
else
ถานะแบบ
starts.
ร้านสะดวก
Okay, so now you know a little bit of what we have to look forward to next time. I hope that you are excited about this series. I hope that you're looking forward to the dynamic between them. Like I said, it's so down to earth and realistic and so similar. Not exactly, of course, they are actors, but very similar to their real personalities. And you can tell they're just so natural in these roles. Even the director, who's worked with them before on several other projects, over years, said that he giggles every time he watches this because it just seems so natural, just like two people in love. And I'm like, well, it's because you hired two people in love. And the one thing that I wanted to say earlier, but I didn't want to take the time to say it, is that Yim is an actor, but he is most definitely not a faker. So if you followed them long enough and you have seen enough about him, when he likes or does not like something, he cannot fake anything. Like, you immediately see it on his face or through his body actions. He's not a very good faker. He's a great actor, but I assume he always has to tap into some part of himself that relates to what he's doing, because the guy cannot, he sucks at pretending to be something that he's not or do something that he's not. So if you'll notice, when he's holding the cigarette, that he's obviously never held a cigarette or smoked ever in his entire life, and he cannot fake it, which someone online said that he had asthma or he did when he was a kid or so. So I get it. And a lot of people have never smoked a cigarette ever. Why would you? Cigarettes are gross. So it's very obvious. And Tudor, on the other hand, looks very natural when he does it. And you'll see it in later episodes too, because they do smoke a lot in this. I mean, they're bar owners. But Tudor is a little more natural. He can fake a lot of stuff. But then also, like, with the eating the peach and everything, so he didn't take a bite of it, and you can tell, like, he's just not really good at faking. But I love him because he's such a great actor, so that makes all of his acting really genuine to me, and I think that just makes it better. It's definitely not a negative comment. But also, on the flip side of that, how it enhances his acting is that in the same scene, like after the peach and everything, when Tudor like pulls his hand down, and you can see that Yim just cannot stop smiling and grinning because he's like, wow, this is really sexy. This is so hot. I like this. And he cannot keep that smile off of his face, which happens all the time in real life and in other shows. That's just him. So when he likes it or he's into it, he smiles all the time. So I don't know, it's just something funny that after years of watching them and seeing all of their series and watching different interviews and things like that, it's just a tiny quirk that I really appreciate and I love him for. He's my absolute favorite actor in all of this industry. So I'm never saying anything bad about him. I adore him. I definitely think these two were the perfect choice. And the director was the perfect choice. The looks, the sound, the soundtrack, it all fits the maturity of the novel so well. So I hope that I will see you all back for episode 2, and let's enjoy this entire series together.